Hello and welcome to the pre-show. You can't see our faces, but you can hear our voices. How's it going, everybody? I'm excited for you to be able to talk about that. I'm sad Andrew can't be here to hear you talk about it.
I sent that song in our Discord.
Nice. The Roundabout podcast time.
I will say I kind of preferred Roundabout over the other one.
The other one? Roundabout for part 1 and part 2?
Yeah, I'm on part 3.
Oh!
Yeah.
You're not a big fan of Walk Like an Egyptian?
Yeah, Walk Like an Egyptian.
I'm
not saying I'm not a fan of it. I'm just saying that I preferred Roundabout.
There is a reason for Walk Like an Egyptian.
I kind of saw that coming. I don't know what it is yet, but I feel like I have a pretty good idea.
Well, to clarify, there was a reason for Roundabout as well. But from now on, all the openings and endings will all be much more tied into the story, I guess. There's a lot of shadows in this room today. What's wrong with that? This light shifted? The viewers can't even see all the shadows yet. Well. So yeah, I mean, I guess we could end the pre-show if you'd like now.
Yeah, I'm ready whenever you are, man.
All right, I got everything set up. King is here, and everybody else should be piling in, so...
Hello, King.
Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Full Spectrum Podcast. My name is Trey.
And I'm Pattrick.
And Andrew is sick this week, so he's not here. But he gave us some thoughts for some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about. So do not fear. His comments will still be every time, man. Every time. I talked about this on Twitter about how, like, I'm fine and not a problem at all. And I hit record or I hit start stream or I get off of the music and the first word I try to say is like, why?
Like, I'm laughing, but it's not funny.
But you've seen it happen.
Yeah, it happens a lot. I have to be real with you.
Oh, it's like my body just goes, ha, you thought you were about to be professional. Not this time.
No, it's okay. You're just showing that you're fighting off the evil that is sickness.
I'm just showing that I'm a fighting dreamer.
Oh, yeah.
Andrew's not here. We can make all the Naruto references we want today. References.
Just like Sable is literally Shikamaru.
Yes. That's why I chose him, clearly.
Yeah, he has to lead your team. He will lead your team.
What if he winds up being Water Dark? It'd be a good type combination.
Be pretty cool.
So yeah, we have a podcast this week. It's not just Pat and I talking about Naruto and Sable. Much as I love Sable. I will say though, before we move on, tell me you saw Grazuke.
No.
I meant to retweet it and I think I forgot to. I'll see if I can hunt it down. But I saw an image on Twitter of Ruki with a bazooka.
Okay, I'm just gonna Google search it. Ruki with bazooka. YouTube
has been very strange all day long. Brandon Jones of Easy Allies could not stream Cup of Jones earlier when he normally does on Mondays because of YouTube. So if you are having difficulties on the YouTube side, please remember that we have Twitch and Mixer sides as well. One of the good things about being on all three.
Are you talking about the one that says "mess with the Grookey, you get the bazooki"?
Yes, that's the one.
That's beautiful, and I'm going to download it.
But we will get into Pokemon news in just a little bit. Until then, we have some thoughts on some stuff we've been doing this week. And I guess since Andrew's not here, Pat, first shot defaults to you.
I can do that. Let me see. Go back to the docket. So, one of the things that I did this week is we're going to talk about it in the news. So I'm going to kind of save it a little bit for that.
Okay.
But I played some Overwatch PTR.
Yeah.
I didn't play a whole lot. but I played a little bit because of some news that we got. So when the moment I saw the news, I was like, I mean, I'm going straight to the PTR. I have to check this out.
I don't blame you.
But we'll talk about that like in more depth in a minute. We'll just save it for the news. Played some more Apex Legends, of course.
Yeah.
I keep having games where I finish like third or second, and it's so annoying because I can see that I'm getting
really
better.
good though.
I appreciate that. Like I see that I'm getting better. So like it's a cool thing for me because it's like, you know, I know that if I get into a gunfight, I'm aiming better and I'm hitting better and I'm, you know, maneuvering better while I'm shooting because I'm getting used to the game. But there's so many times where, like, for example, today I played with Drummond today, and like we got second place, but we played with just the two of us because our third player DC'd on purpose because they didn't like where we were landing.
Yeah.
So they DC'd, but we ended up killing 3 squads, and we kept going, and then we got to the last 3, and the 2 of them are in a gunfight, and then we third party them, but we still, you know, lost and got second.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating. But like I said, it's really cool that I can actually see that I'm getting better at this game.
Yeah.
Also, been watching JoJo.
Yes, Pattrick.
Yes, JoJo. I am in the middle of part 3.
Yes. Okay.
So I was So
by in the middle,
I'll tell you exactly where I'm at.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm gonna preface this though with you know how like most anime when they say a season they include all the episodes dub and sub on Hulu, right? So you're like, oh, this is 48 episodes. Obviously, it's gonna be 24.
Right.
Well, the first season was like that, where it was like, you know, hey, there's only 48 episodes, so there's only 24 sub and 24 dub. And I started watching it sub like I always do, you know, because that's literally how I live my life.
Yes.
And then you said the dub was good, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll check out the dub. You know, we'll see. I watched one episode, and I was like, I'm gonna go back to the sub.
Yeah.
And then I watched another episode of the sub, and I was like, why am I not watching the dub? This is so good.
They're both really good.
They are, and that's what sucks is like I really wanted to keep watching the sub because it felt more natural, but I caught myself watching the dub, and then I get to part 3, and not only is there not sub and dub, so there's actually 48 episodes of straight sub.
Yeah.
But it's straight sub, so I don't get the dub anymore.
Unfortunately.
So I'm not mad, but it's funny because like I was totally expecting another 24 episodes, and I was like, oh, I'm in this for the long haul now.
Well, and like I think, for instance, I think part 3 you should get a dub. I think it should go back and dub part 3, because even though I prefer it subbed, part 3 still has characters that aren't from Japan.
Yeah.
Part 4, just about everybody in part 4 is from Japan in Japan. So like it would make sense for it to just be subbed there. But like I don't know how far in part 3 you are yet. A lot of people that aren't from Japan in part 3.
Yeah, so I just got past the part where they fight the stand master strength.
Okay, yeah.
So I mean it's kind of an old anime now. Can I spoil it?
Well, it's old and it's new in a weird way, you know? Like 2012, 2013, 2014 is where we're at right now with you. Okay,
so well,
by all means, do spoiler hands.
Yeah, just in case. If you're gonna watch JoJo and you don't want to hear it, just wait a second. So that's when they get lost at sea because they were fighting. I can't remember. I think it was like Blue Hydra or something like that. The guy with the stand that is basically an Aquaman fish.
Yes. Okay.
And it does like the big water, like wormhole.
Yes.
It was amazing. That was an awesome fight. That was ridiculously awesome.
Very good fight.
And then they're out at sea, just like coasting, waiting for somebody to pick them up, and all of a sudden there's this gigantic frigate coming in, and that's whenever they JoJo immediately knew something was wrong, but everybody's just like, I mean, it's fine, we're finally saved, yeah. And that poor girl literally watched a hook go through a man's face.
Yep.
And I was just like, this episode is about to take me on a road. Yep. I was expecting the fight to last longer, but in a weird way, every fight that's that short feels long because JoJo just does stuff to make these fights seem long.
Yeah.
But he's so OP. Like, he literally... And I'm gonna be real with you, I do not like Kujo.
Okay. You don't like JoJo?
I don't like him. I don't like him.
Okay.
He makes me... I'm starting to like him because he's starting to show, like, compassion.
I want to remind everybody, Pat... Oh, well, I mean, you wouldn't know because Pat started JoJo this week, basically. But Pat also did not like Joseph when he first met Joseph.
Yes, I did not like Joseph at first, but like 3 episodes in, I fell in love with Joseph. I'm like 6 episodes in with Kujo, and the first couple episodes, I was like, if you call your mom the B word one more time, I'm gonna stop watching this show.
So,
like, I was getting really
there
upset.
is a reason for every bit about the way he acts with his mom. There's a reason for that.
Okay, so I'm assuming I just haven't figured that out yet.
No, you haven't got there. Actually, you should have got there and might have just missed it, but I can explain what the reason is.
So, whenever like you see the part where like she finds out she has a she knows she has a stand, but
you can
she's
put
not
your
telling
hands down
them.
now, by the way, because we're just
Okay.
generally talking. You
Okay,
have to
so
just keep them up.
Yeah, she knows that she has a stand at this point. Like, she knows.
Yes.
So I'm assuming that during that time period, I was supposed to see why he treats her like that, but I didn't see that.
So the reason why, and it's actually, I was excited for this too, because we could get into the conversation of stands and the way they work. One of the reasons Jotaro is such an interesting character is that he had a stand before he knew what a stand was. So he thinks he's possessed at the start of the series.
Yeah, I saw that.
The cool thing about it is if you see like flashbacks, which I don't think you really get in the anime. I know there's a couple in the manga. He's like Joseph makes the comment like he was such a nice kid before because he didn't used to treat his mom that way.
Mm-hmm.
But once he figured out that he was possessed, he was afraid it would hurt the people around him, so he tried to put distance between the two. And so he continues to get more and more extreme to try and push her away. And it doesn't work because she loves him too much.
Yeah.
So he keeps...
she also sees right through him.
Right. But so he dials it up to 11 to try and push her away because he's afraid this thing's going to kill her. And so then by the time he figures out he's got to stand, you don't really get any scenes of them together before the thing happens where they have to get moving. And the scene that's supposed to show you he actually does care about her is the scene where she falls and he breaks the cup that he's holding.
Yeah, no, I remember that part.
Yeah,
so
because that's why he treats that way.
That's what I was saying. Like, I started to like him when he started showing compassion because, like, all of a sudden his mom was dying.
Well, that's the thing.
He was like,
he's always been showing compassion. You just couldn't tell. He looked like he was just a jerk, you know?
Yeah.
He's such a good character.
I'm liking him more as the show goes, but he dug a deep hole for me, and I guess it's just, I wasn't expecting that.
He's also very different from Jonathan and Joseph.
Very much so. There's no way that you can easily compare them besides the fact that their last name is Joestar.
Well, his isn't even Joestar. His is Kujo.
Oh, true. Yeah. I also want to say that I love the fact that they hid the star early in the show. I went back and looked. The star is actually on them, and I was like, "You guys, see what you did there."
So I have a boatload of questions, and at some point, I'd really love for us to do an actual like full JoJo breakdown going through the different seasons.
We're gonna have to.
Oh yeah. But real quick, I want to hit on a couple things. Jewel brought up the animation style. The animation style doesn't sit with a lot of people. A lot of people don't like the way the animation looks, but it is 100% faithful to the manga. Like, they did not improve or like worsen in any way. It is just the manga panels, basically.
It looks like it's straight out of a manga.
Yes.
That's legit how it looks, and I love that, to be honest.
So I want to hit a couple quick questions, because I know we don't need to spend forever in this podcast on JoJo, much as I would love to. First one, season 1. How you feel about Dio?
So, I like Dio, but at the same time, I was just like, I was more into Jonathan.
That's fair.
I loved Jonathan as a character. I thought he was amazing.
How many lives have you taken, Dio? How many breads have you eaten in your life, JoJo?
Yeah, when he said that, I was like, dude, this guy's a jerk.
Yep.
Like, this guy's he's a
good
that's
villain.
one thing. That's one thing I will say about Dio is he's a great villain.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
He literally is a great villain. I'm excited to see more of him in part 3 because I still want to I want to see how his characters progress.
He only gets better, man. He only gets better.
That's what I'm assuming.
So question 2. without spoiling anything for season 2, I'm just gonna say one word. Jesus! Yep.
That hurt, man.
Yep, that's a really good moment. And my third question is, how do you feel? I'm sorry, it looked like you had a thought there.
All I was gonna say is the fight between JoJo and Wamu.
Yep.
Was the best fight I've seen.
That's
so
a
far.
really good fight, man. So question 3, and I'll end with this question: is how did you feel about the change from Hamon to stands? And I say change because stands are just the full reach of Hamon breathing. It's what it becomes. But...
yeah. So I'm not sure how I liked the transition because I could tell it was an actual transition because at one point you see Joseph. At one point, you see Joseph use Hamon in the beginning of part 2.
Part 3, yes.
I mean, part 3, yeah.
Right.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
And it surprised me because obviously I knew immediately that they were stands because I've seen some stuff.
They stand beside you.
I know. I laughed. I laughed so hard when he said that. But I saw
A+.
Yes, very much so. I can lift this rock.
I mean, what else would you call him, right?
Yeah, exactly. I loved seeing him use Hamon in the beginning of part 3 because I was like, that's obvious that it's still part of them. Yes. And then that's when they started explaining how like it's an actual transition, and I was just like, this is crazy. But I'm also really excited to see where they're going with the fact that they're saying Dio brought it out of them.
Yeah.
I really want to see how that worked. Because I'm assuming it brought it out in everyone across the world, obviously, because people all over the world at this point are feeling it.
Spoil anything.
I'm excited. It show's really good.
I think the transition to stands, when it happened in the manga, because I read the manga as a kid. When it happened in the manga, I got super upset because I loved Hamon breathing.
Yeah, I did too.
But what stands do for the fights in JoJo is insane. They were already, like, Joseph was already bringing I set this thing over here 4 pages back so that I could use it to do this. But Jotaro can only fight up close. Mm-hmm. And so the idea of he has to get to them somehow. How is he going to do that? How is he going to get them in his range? And then the idea of, like, the other guys stand maybe something super basic, like, I can look in a mirror, and when I look in the mirror, I can see things on another side of another mirror. And it's like, okay, that's a pretty, like, useless power. And then it's like, no, he used that to fire a gun around corners. And it's like, whoa, you know, it's like, Araki put so much thought into stands and into the way the stands would fight each other. And it only gets better, man.
I'm excited. The only point in the show I've been disappointed or, like, upset is at the end of part 2.
Yeah.
I really didn't like the way that they finished that fight. The fight overall was phenomenal. It was a great fight. But the way that they ended that fight, I was like...
So they had to do that for a reason.
And that's what I figured.
That ending, like, what happens with that character is really cool. There's another storyline that has to do with that character.
I'm excited.
And it's non-canon to the main story, but it needed to happen for that side story.
Fair enough. Yeah, like, so I think it was because, like, there was so much build-up in that fight, and then they end it with that, and I was like, I understand that might have been the only way to win, but at the same time, it was like...
Araki kind of wrote himself into a corner with that character.
Yeah.
He could turn squirrels into blades!
Yeah. He threw piranhas, and he threw feathers that turned into metal piranhas. Plates that turned into piranhas. Yeah, that was intense.
Also, German engineering's the best in the world.
Oh man, I loved his character. The character's so great.
The only Nazi in fiction that I love.
And I think the only part about him that I kept falling back on every time I tried to dislike him, because I'm not gonna lie to you, I tried to not like him.
Yeah, he's a Nazi. It's fair.
You're literally obnoxious. Literally obnoxious. And then he would just yell, German engineering is the greatest in the world, and I'm just like, oh man, dude, just stop.
Yep,
Just stop.
Stroheim, you're the best. Oh, part 1 had
Are you mad,
Speedwagon.
King? Are you mad, King?
Part 2 had Stroheim.
Yeah. I mean,
Part 3 has Polnareff.
all three all parts so far have been great.
Yes.
And I feel like every little bit of negative that I try to pull, there's a positive that so heavily outweighs it that I keep liking it. So
I will tell you, when I read part 1 was my favorite. Read part 2 was my favorite. When I read part 3 was my favorite. And it kept going until I got to part 7. And part 7 is hands down my favorite. And I'm so excited that David Production is just gonna keep making JoJo till we get through part 7. Yes, keep doing it.
They're gonna keep making JoJo anime.
Yeah, they're on part 5 right now.
Sweet. Okay. Well, I'm gonna try to catch up.
Yeah. I guess with that, we should move on from JoJo.
Yeah, before King throws a fit. I'm just kidding, King.
Partly because I don't want to spoil anything for you by talking about it more.
Yeah,
because the second half of part 3 goes some places.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I will tell you that at one point a piece of music is used, and I knew immediately what they were going at with that music, and I think you're gonna be super hyped when you hear it. I know that you have like this weird meta knowledge of Dio from the internet.
Yeah.
But I think that will only make things better when you get to the moments that happen with Dio.
Yeah, like in part 2, whenever they started playing the ending of the song, or the first ending again, and I was like, I see what you're doing. No, they started playing they played the ending of the first opening.
Yeah.
That's when I knew something was going on. I feel like that's gonna be played throughout every single part too.
I will tell you, the openings only get better. There is.
I like all of them.
I don't want to spoil this for you, but it's super cool. I'll wait. Because the 4th opening is the best opening.
I'm excited. I can't wait. I like all of them so far.
Yeah, they're all real good. Sorete like a bloody stone. Sorete like a bloody stone. Part 2, man.
Really
Battle Tendency, so good. So yeah, Andrew's not here, so I guess we'll go into my week. There's a lot on my docket, but there's not a lot to say about it all. I started doing a Fire Emblem 8 randomized run just for the fun of it. Felt like it. And I got super lucky, and my Garcia had 22 resistance at level 5.
Wow.
So mages were never... He had nothing else. He does no damage, he hits nothing. But guess what class he was too?
Knight.
He was a knight, so I just put him in the way of mages and nothing hurts him.
Just walks around.
I also got Vanessa as a shaman.
Okay.
She had 16 magic at level 2.
But didn't you say she couldn't move?
She had 2 movement.
Yep.
So it was pretty much just Garcia and then Vanessa. And then once she got over there, hey, it's over. We won this map. But yeah, that's been fun. And then I started Pokemon Emerald Softlocke. Basically, I was playing a bunch of VBA games so I could continue watching Boruto. Because I can play those and still pay attention. And a Softlocke is like a Nuzlocke, except there is no death penalty. So you still have to use the first Pokemon that you catch on a route and cannot catch anymore. But if they die, you're fine. You just keep playing. You just go to the Pokemon Center. And the purpose of that was to play with Pokemon that I don't normally use. My current team is a Swinub, a Lotad, a Ralts, a Totodile. Starter was a Kakuna that only knows Harden. It made things difficult. And a Sentret. So, hey.
How'd you get past the tutorial battle?
I lost it. It's fine.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
You don't have to win it. And since it's a Softlocke, I didn't lose.
You just need to get that thing to evolve.
Yep. It hasn't yet. I've been leveling everything else. I still have a level 7 Kakuna. But yeah, I've been doing that. Been playing Destiny 2. I won't talk about it too much because Andrew's not here to get hype with me, but I finished the main game.
Oh, nice.
And that I never beat way back when. And that is actually a really good ending. That's a really good... I can't believe none of us beat it back then to be able to talk about it for Game of the Year that year. There's some pretty good moments in there.
I still have the disc in there.
So, the game's been out for a while. I'd like to talk about one really good moment.
Yeah, go for it.
There's a moment where you are just, like, storming Gaul's base, right? Everybody's pretty aware that you're probably going to be the only one that gets to fight him because you're the only one that still has light, and all of these other named characters could just die, right? If they die, they're dead for good.
Yeah.
So you go rushing in, and you get this cutscene of all of these named characters that don't mean, like, they don't have personalities or anything, really, because Destiny 1 didn't really have a story. But they're all there, and that's pretty cool, right? And then this barrier goes up, blocking a bunch of them off from coming to help you, because they don't want those characters to die, you know? So they put a barrier in there to block the way. And, like, there's not a lot of ways you can convey personality without using words. But the guy who runs the Crucible, Shax, he was there, and that barrier went up, and he just went boom, boom, boom with his gun on the side of the barrier and just goes, like threw his hands back, and I was like, that's a lot of good character development right there. And it was just really cool. It's not the best moment. That's a spoiler. But it was just pretty fun. And it made me go, you know what? I think they've realized these people weren't characters, and they're trying to make that up.
Yeah.
And so that's cool. And also, the stranger's nowhere to be seen, so that's a plus as well. I don't have time to explain why I don't have time to explain. You also apparently don't have time to show up in this game, so that's for the better. Still working on RDR2. Hopefully we finish it this Thursday. I think we are right on the cusp. I think we have like 5 or 6 missions left. Man, that story's gone some places, and characters that I hated before, I hate even more now.
I'm sure.
So, but Arthur and John are cool.
That's it.
Yep, pretty much.
Well, I figured.
Yeah, Destiny 2 has no Peter Dinklage, but it also has a real sassy ghost now. This ghost in Destiny 2 is pretty sassy. There's a moment where Zavala was like, hey, go do this mission. We have to do this, and if we can do this, we'll succeed. And then after he gets the feed, the ghost goes, by we, he means us, of course, because we're the only ones who do anything around here. And I was like, ooh! I've been continuing to play FF14, obviously. I got Black Mage to 70. I think I talked about that, that I was close at the end of last week. I almost have Red Mage to 70 now. It's at 67, I think. So I'm pushing on 70's door there. Okay. And then I'll have all my casters to 70. Then I'll start on my range DPS. Then I'll have my melee DPS. Then I have my tanks and my healers. I'm going to get them all there for Stormblood, or Shadowbringers. I should have done it a long time ago and just never did. But I'm excited. It's a lot of fun. And I've still been playing around in Eureka. Had some more fun stuff going on in there. Got to level 15, I think, in Eureka. Somewhere close to that. And, you know, hey, just running around. I did find out I'm a massive idiot, though. So, you queue into Eureka, right?
Yeah.
You have to go talk to a guy and you queue into an instance. Well, in all other instance content in this game, you cannot switch classes. So I assumed in Eureka you would not be able to switch classes. I assumed you would have a Eureka level per class, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was playing as Paladin, so there's a bunch of dead people, and I can't raise them. I'm sorry, I don't have the ability to do that. Turns out if you go back to the port, change classes in there, and you stay whatever Eureka level you are. So now if somebody's begging for a raise so they don't lose XP, I just go back to the port, change classes, and go pull them up. But nice. I walked past all those people before that I could have saved. They lost XP. That's okay. I almost said they lost XP because of me. That's not true. They lost XP because they...
Yeah.
Get good.
Good. Scrub. I know you're watching that there. Scrub.
But I've also been reading Golden Kamuy. So the reason I wanted to read this is because the anime just started airing. I didn't watch the first episode. saw a bunch of GIFs, and I was like, that seems like it could be okay. Instead of watching the new hype anime that everybody's talking about, I'll just go back and read the manga nobody's talking about. Because I'm weird, I guess. But the manga is done, so like, hey, I could, read the whole thing. It's pretty interesting. It's about this guy named Sugimoto the Immortal. And his whole thing is he's not actually, like, immortal. He just refuses to die. And so he's got, like, scars all over his body. The opening, like, page is him getting shot in the neck and still bring his bayonet down on a guy.
Wow.
Like, he's tough. And the basic rundown of the story is that he's teamed up with this tribal girl named Aserpa, who is part of this tribe that is almost extinct in this area, because they are trying to find a lost treasure, so that Sugimoto can pay off a debt and Aserpa can get revenge. And their interactions are so good. Because Sugimoto is like 20 years older than her, he treats her like almost a daughter, you know? And there are just moments where Aserpa's like, that's stupid. I'm not doing that, Sugimoto. And he's just like, yeah, come on, this will work. Just trust me. And then, of course, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's really good. Yeah, she's an Ainu. That's the tribe, the Ainu tribe. But, man, it's really funny. It has some of the best reaction faces I've ever seen. Like, I'm talking, there's a moment where Aserpa tries to feed Sugimoto brains because they will give him warmth in this cold temperature. And he finally does eat them, and he just goes... And it's, like, super detailed. It's real good so far. And the villain, man! Oh, boy, the villains! Villains are real good!
That's awesome.
I will put it to you this way without spoiling anything. There is a moment where a villain is chasing after them, and his horse gets shot, so he leaps from the back of the horse and starts running.
That's pretty awesome.
And like most villains would just give up, but not this guy.
That's intense.
That moment is really good, King. I'm not gonna spoil that moment for anybody by explaining what happens there, but that moment is real good. And it pays off really well too. But yeah, that's basically my week. Can you believe we made it through weeks in 30 minutes?
I mean, we wouldn't have if Andrew was here, because we all would have definitely kept going a little bit longer.
That's true. That's true. Let me just double check his thoughts, make sure he didn't have anything for his week. He did not. Okay. All right. So we'll talk about the first big announcement. Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Woo!
Team Sobble.
Team Grookey.
And I gotta represent my boy. I will point out, Pat, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but the drumstick that Grookey carries is the branch that's in his hair.
Yes, it's beautiful.
Such a good detail.
So I wanted to talk to you about this on the podcast. I thought about talking to you about it, outside of the podcast, but I thought it would be better for it.
Okay.
So I watched. I'm sure you did too. I watched the Easy Allies.
Yes.
Reaction.
I've watched a bunch of people's reactions.
Kyle Bossman didn't look too excited.
There's a couple of reasons for that, and I don't disagree with the things that he said or that some of the others said. Klimps put out a really good video, Mr. Klimps, on... it's like a 7-minute long video, on his thoughts on it. Those sprites, the 3D animated sprites for the models, for the Pokemon, are in a lot of ways just the Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, Sun and Moon, X and Y, exact same 3D models. And the problem with that is that old school Pokemon had, and I think it's what we were all hoping for with this 3D one, and now that some of the hype has worn off, I'm more than willing to talk about this problem that I have with it, because it's okay to like something even if you have problems with it. We've talked about that many times. The sprites don't look good when they're idling. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, when the Pokemon are moving, they look fine. The problem is, when you're selecting moves and stuff like that, the Pokemon don't move. And it's not that they look bad, it's just that they're not interesting.
I mean, even the 3D models of, like, Pokemon Stadium back in the day would move back and forth and, like, have, like, small little, like, reactions. Do they not do that at all?
No. So, like, the best example is Pokemon Stadium 2 Apom, right? In Pokemon Stadium 2, Apom would jump from one foot to the other foot, you know, and he was constantly in motion when he wasn't fighting. But Blastoise is probably the big example in this because the 3D model of Blastoise that will be used in this game, it's been confirmed they're using the Sun and Moon models. The 3D model for Blastoise when he's not attacking is just doing this. And it's like a lot of Pokemon are going to be like that, you know? And I do think the shading looks better, a lot better. I saw a side-by-side comparison of the shading in Sword and Shield versus the shading in Let's Go. And it's the same model that's used in Let's Go, but the shading looks so much better. So, on one hand, like, hey, the sprites are definitely still going to be super dead, is the way that a lot of people reference them. When they're not attacking, but on the other hand, they're the best looking dead sprites they've ever been.
Yeah, I just hope that it doesn't cause like me to dislike the game. I guess. I mean, I don't see it being big enough of an issue to not like the game.
Yeah, I agree. The other thing that really stands out to me is that having looked at those environments some more, those are very much like the 3DS environments.
Really?
Like, they're better, they're upscaled, you know, but they're not new 3D environment. Which makes me wonder if this wasn't originally supposed to be a 3DS game.
See, I was about to say that. I wonder if they weren't expecting this game to make it to the Switch.
I don't know. I was hoping that we'd get something a little bit more bombastic, but I'm still excited for this game. Like, I'm still going to get it, obviously.
I also think that we'll see potentially a second game on the Switch before they move on to the next console.
Oh, I don't think Nintendo's moving on from the Switch for a while. It's the handheld and home console together.
Yeah.
I think we're probably going to get the next 3 Pokemon games on this console for sure.
So in saying that, I wonder if they were doing this basically as a test to be like, okay, let's see how this runs on the Switch and see how far we can go after that, if that makes sense.
It's very possible. And I do think what we're getting is pretty hype. I think some of the stuff they've shown is really good. The new Pokemon look really good. I just wish that they had got us some new models, you know? Like, that's my thing. It comes back to that Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee used the same models, and it was fine because, you know, hey, they're offshoots, but this is a new core game. And the fact that we've been using the exact same models for these Pokemon for the past 4 games now. X and Y, Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun and Moon, Pokemon Let's Go, and then now Sword and Shield, you know?
Yeah.
And like every generation before that got new models. And it's a lot of models to make, don't get me wrong. Like, there's a lot of Pokemon, you gotta make a lot of new models, but like, just give us a couple updates.
Even if they keep the same, at least make them move a little bit more. Yeah,
give them some more idle animations.
Yeah. But I'm super hyped. I can't wait to play this game.
I am too. Definitely Team Solid.
Like I said during the reaction that we did, this is the first Pokemon game I've played since Emerald.
Yeah.
I have been out of the Pokemon like RPG game for a while.
I've gotten really good too, man. I'm super stoked for another one.
Yeah.
I hope this one's a little bit more difficult than Sun and Moon. Like, X and Y was pretty easy. I've heard that a lot. And then Sun and Moon got pretty easy. Sun and Moon tried something new to mix it up in the form of elite trainers, where after you beat every other trainer on the route, you could fight an elite trainer who used a competitive moveset. That was really cool. I'd rather every trainer was just, like, maybe not scaled all the way up to competitive, but, like, scaled a little bit higher, than to have a bunch of weak trainers and then a really good one.
Yeah.
But, I would love for it to be a little bit harder, and I would love if it had either, I know they won't do it, but either skippable tutorials or shorter tutorials, because the one in Sun and Moon is egregious. Really? It's like 14 minutes.
I also really hope that they learned some of the stuff that people really loved from Pokemon Let's Go.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that could be moved over, like the Pokemon box.
Yes, that would be amazing.
Please give us the Pokemon box.
It would be amazing.
But I'm worried that we're not going to get it.
How do you think they're going to do HMs in this? You think we're going back to old school HMs? I think we probably are.
I don't know what changed. I don't know how it changed from before.
So in the old games, from like Gen 1 basically. You got an HM and you had to teach it to a Pokemon and it replaced one of their moves.
Mm-hmm.
And then it could not be deleted by another move. You had to go to the move deleter.
Yeah.
In Let's Go, they gave us transportation abilities instead.
Mm-hmm.
Where your partner Pokemon use Cut or use Surf, and you didn't have to teach him move to a Pokemon to do it. I definitely think we're going to move back to moves, HMs. I wish we did. I wish it stayed to where just your trainer cut down that tree.
That would be really nice if you know we could just cut down that tree, or be like, say for example you had Charizard. Charizard should be able to fly. It has gigantic wings.
Yes.
Like, just let us fly.
I also think if they make it, I don't remember which game, but one of the games, it might have been Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, had the option to delete HMs by just like overriding them, and that would also work for me. Just the ability to get rid of Cut when I don't need it anymore.
Yeah.
The problem then is you have to reteach it to somebody if you have to get through another tree. So it's like, hey, you know, give me the option to just have my trainer go, Shah!
But even then, you don't have to do that if you give us the Pokemon box.
Yes, I agree. Because then you just switch in your HM slave. A Bidoof.
Exactly. You could make it have an HM slave. Yes, literally Mew. So you literally just keep Pokemon. Even if it has to be a couple Pokemon, you just keep a couple Pokemon that take HMs.
Yeah,
and that's
switch
it.
them in when you need them. I agree. That would work.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that would work.
If you give us the Pokemon box. But if you don't give us the Pokemon box, I'm gonna be mad.
Yeah, I know people that in their runs of Diamond and Pearl just sat a Bidoof in their party and never used it. And so they had like a level 2 Bidoof when they beat the Elite Four. Because it was the HM slave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and King, I agree. Like, that would be fine if they did it like that.
Yeah.
And if you do it like that and don't give me the Pokemon box, I'm okay with that.
Don't give me an HM01 Cut. Hands my trainer an axe.
Oh yeah, that would be so cool.
Like, let me have my trainer just go, and then the tree falls, you know?
So good. Especially if it had like a really clean anime to go with it.
Yeah.
Like animation. Oh man.
Don't make me use Surf. Let my trainer pull out a boogie board.
Something.
Yeah. How's it going, Will?
Sorry for the typing.
No, you're fine. I don't know. I'm still excited despite everything. I'm more tempered than I was during the reaction. During the reaction, I was definitely hyped up. And I did see some people saying negative reactions only bring hate, and it's like, no, people need to share their opinions, whether they're positive on the game or negative on the game. So.
Yeah, if we just because an edition of a game comes out that you have been playing forever doesn't mean that it can't be bad. Like you have to tell the developers that.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Dynasty Warriors 9. I hate to make it sound like I'm sucker punching you right now, but I'm not. I'm trying to say that like
fresh wound.
I'm just saying it's a prime example. Like if you had sat there and been like, you know what, I love this game because it's Dynasty Warriors, instead of being open and honest about how you hated the game.
Yeah.
I guarantee you the developers have a lot of people who are just like, oh, this game's great because it's Dynasty Warriors.
It unfortunately happens a lot.
Yeah. I mean, look at me in 2K. That game's terrible a lot of the time. And it makes me mad a lot of the time. But you know what? I buy it every year and I keep playing it. They keep just taking my money right out of my wallet. I would, if I could pre-order it for the next game, the day that the game that's current comes out, I would do it. And it's stupid, but I would do it.
No, why?
I mean, we could get into this in a minute if you want for a topic, like why people buy games that are bad just because they're a part of a chain of games. We could talk about that later if you want.
Yeah.
So we don't sit here and talk about this forever, but I do. I do that, and I hate it.
Well,
but I don't.
Before we move on to the next game announcement, I wanna hit on something that King brought up in the chat. The Pokemon Follow feature better be a thing. I think if it was gonna be in there, we would have seen it in this. I think we would have seen a Pokemon following either one of our new protagonists.
I don't know. I feel like they might have hidden it just because they don't want us to see the new Pokemon.
They didn't. They showed a bunch of old Pokemon in that trailer.
That's true. I don't know. Probably not. You're probably right.
I will say though, I am so happy with all the memes that have come out about this new trainer and how she looks Welsh, and all the Welsh memes. They're so
I have not seen any
good.
of them.
Why would they remove it though? For ease of development. It'd be a lot easier to not have to code walking animation. All those Pokemon.
I also wonder how long they've been in production of this, because like we were saying earlier, they may not have expected this to be on the Switch, and in that case, they may have been working on this for a long time. And
yeah, if it was made for 3DS hardware, there's no way the walking's in.
Yeah, and a whole different team probably worked on Pokemon Go, and they just pumped it out.
I will say though, if they put in the walking feature, there's no excuse to not have new animations for standing strikes.
Exactly.
Because then they're making brand new sprites.
Yeah. I'm leaning towards the possibility that they've been working on this for a long time, and that idea came a lot later in the process.
Yeah.
They probably didn't have a chance to as far as a time constraint, because unfortunately these people are still on a time constraint.
Yes. I almost think that they might have been going to ship Sword and Shield when they announced Let's Go.
You know what? You're probably right.
And decided to instead make it a Switch game because they saw people's response to Let's Go being announced and said, don't worry, we have a core Pokemon game in the works. Moving it to the Switch. We're good, don't worry.
You're probably right. You're probably exactly right. They probably were ready to release it for the 3DS, and then somebody was like, hey, don't do this.
Well, the 3DS was dying too, so it's entirely possible they were just like,
we have to switch this now.
Yeah.
We have to switch this
now. So yeah.
That's what it sounds like to me. I have a hard time believing pretty much anything else at this point.
Yeah. Also, last thing before I'm ready to move on. For the first time, I'm going to start as the female trainer, not because of that backpack, but because of all the memes.
Understandable.
I have to imagine my trainer walking around using a Welsh accent to just trash some people.
So for the record, you're going with Sobble.
Yes.
And you're going Sword or Shield?
I will go whichever one you guys don't go. I want to go Sword, but I will go Shield if you both go. Just so
I'm going Shield.
Okay, you are going Shield. I will go Sword.
I am absolutely 110% going Shield. I love the idea of Sword and Shield, and I can't wait to see what the third one is, which I really hope is like Axe or something like that. But I saw Shield and it was red, and I was like, yes, I want the red Shield.
And you're going Grookey.
Yes, very much.
You will have the type advantage on me. I want us to do like catch up on the podcast kind of series, and then when we both finish the game, I want us to have a big match.
Oh, that'd be so cool if all three of us, we had like a 3-way fight.
Yeah.
Like you face Andrew, and then I face you, and then Andrew faces me, and then we just like flip it.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Anyway, we should probably move on from Pokemon. After that, not anywhere near as like exciting an announcement, but still a pretty cool announcement. Trine 4 got announced.
I've never heard of this game.
So the Trine series are a series of games where you have a warrior, wizard, and a archer. I think she's like a huntress. And the three of you, like, you can control 3 characters, or you can get 2 friends, and each of you control a character. And you have to solve puzzles and fight enemies as you try to do a side-scrolling adventure. They're really fun games. This is the best time to get into the Trine series, because not only is Trine 4 coming out, but the Trine Complete Collection is coming out as well, which has Trine 1, Trine 2, Trine 3, and Trine 4.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So it will be coming out on all consoles. And it's pretty hype.
No, I might have to do that. Is it coming out this year?
Yes.
Okay, let me add that to the list then for me.
And you should watch the trailers and see if it's something you feel like playing. I think they're worth it. However, having said that, I did not finish Trine 3. Because Trine 3 tried to go for a different style, and I didn't like it that much. Trine 1 and Trine 2 are really good.
Do you know when it's going to be released? Do they give like a fall
I think
or
it's
late?
Like last quarter of the year. It's going to be bad.
So
it's going to be in the crunch
holiday?
time. Yeah. It might have to go for next year.
Yeah, I wonder if they push it back just because.
They might. It's a pretty cool
Okay.
announcement, you know. Trine's still around. We all thought it was dead. So from there, we'll go into the news itself. I have got to stop doing that. King caught me doing that the other day, and man, it freaked me out. I just caught another gnat out of the air. Like the third gnat that I've caught. I've been watching too much Mr. Miyagi. Just...
You want me to talk about this,
By
or
all
have you
means,
looked
you're
at
the
this?
one who has the experience. I only know the character's name.
So Papa Jeff gave us number 30, everybody. I'm pretty excited. He seems like a really good character. I played him in the PTR.
This is Overwatch for anyone who does not get the reference.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Jeff.
Overwatch. Sorry. Yeah. His name is spelled weird. It's Baptiste,
Yes.
but they spelled it Baptiste.
Yeah, they spelled it Baptiste, but it's
That's what I was
Baptiste.
expecting. Yeah, that's what I was expecting them to call him, but
Yeah.
his name is Baptiste. He is fun. He's
That's what I've
very
heard.
fun.
I haven't seen any gameplay from him. I've just heard people talking about it on Reddit.
Yeah, in the PTR, I got into a group where it was the what's the game mode where you can play as everybody?
Free for all?
Everybody can play the same. Everybody can play the exact same character on the team.
Unranked.
It's not free for. Yeah, it's yeah, basically. It's
Party.
what,
I think it's
can't
called
remember. It
Party.
doesn't really matter. Yeah, something like it doesn't really matter. What game mode that you can play? Everyone can play as the same character if you want.
Yeah, he Batista bombs people.
Hey, he has a super jump and then he throws a bomb down. So basically,
It is a Batista bomb. That's, I'm sure, a reference on purpose.
I'm sure. So 5 of us went Batiste, and 1 of us went Orisa, and it was capture the point. We sat on the point, and none of us died.
I hear he's a really good healer right now.
So he is. So he has 2 different heals, and his gun has 2 different clips.
Oh.
So his right click is a it's like a splash bomb. It's kind of like Anna's E, where she throws down the health grenade.
Yeah.
It's basically the same thing, except it's a rocket launcher, basically. So
Yeah.
he shoots it, and then it has a splash radius that heals.
Okay.
He also can heal over time, kind of like Lucio, but
Yeah.
he doesn't have to be close to you. So he
Okay.
presses his E, and everyone heals slowly, including him. But his health bombs don't heal him. So he
gotcha.
can only heal himself by pressing E. Which is
So he's like
cool.
Zenyatta then, where he can only heal himself with his ult.
Yes. When he left clicks, he has a 3-round burst rifle, which I thought would not be that effective, but I was killing people like crazy with that gun. I don't know if it's because I've been playing a lot more FPS lately,
It's possible.
and I'm just hitting. I think it's probably because I'm just hitting better shots.
Yeah.
Because I'm hitting a lot more headshots than I normally do too. But it's a pretty good gun, if especially because he has pretty good movement. If you crouch and you hold it, if you do that, because I hold the crouch.
Yeah.
If you hold the crouch, he'll crouch down and the meter goes up. And if you let go of the meter and jump at the same time, or I can't remember if it's jump or you just let go, he jumps straight up really high, and he can shoot his grenade and heal people from the sky, which is amazing.
You're not going to get this reference, but I have to say it anyway. What you're saying is Batiste is a charge character.
I'm assuming, yes. So he charges his jump, flies into the air, and then he can shoot his grenade down. He also can put up a wall.
Okay.
And it's his ult. So when he puts up this wall, anyone shooting through it does double damage.
Oh.
And it stacks.
So if you have 5 Batiste.
Yes. And the last thing that,
That's a
and
real
it's
gun.
amazing too. It's not a big wall like
Not a May wall.
So yeah, it's a little bit smaller than May's wall. And some people were trying to say that it was similar to Symmetra's wall, but Symmetra's wall literally goes across the map.
Yeah, Symmetra's wall is
Gigantic.
yes.
It's a little bit smaller than May's, both width and height. but still very effective. And then the last thing he's got is he can, with his shift, create an invulnerability ray.
Yeah.
So he sets it down, and anyone inside that radius, they can take damage, but they can't die. So they'll get to a certain health cap, and they can't get past that health cap unless the invulnerability pod gets destroyed.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so the meta right now is basically you pop it, Reinhardt sits in front of it, and then everyone sits inside the ring and is shooting while Reinhardt sits there and guards it.
Yeah.
When they did this, they also nerfed Zenyatta and they nerfed Lucio. Ripped them both. The only thing they changed with Zenyatta is his healing.
How you knew which of those two bothered me the most.
It bothered me too because Lucio's my main.
Yeah.
And now I'm gonna have to be playing Batiste. So Lucio now heals from, I believe it's from 40 to 30 per second.
Okay. So it's less healing per second.
Yeah, but they made him a lot faster. So Lucio's movement went up by a whole 15 points.
So in other words, he can stay with somebody for longer. He heals for less, but he can stay with them more.
Yeah, and since he's moving more, he's still going to be healing a pretty good amount. I don't see it being too big of an issue, but there's a lot of complaints already. Zenyatta's healing also went down a little bit.
He does heal a lot.
It went down a little bit, but his shots went up by 5 points. So it does a little bit more damage, which is kind of OP.
So what you're
because
saying
Zenyatta's
is
basically a sniper.
Sniper Zenyatta is back because they took that 5 away from him because it was too much. He had just enough damage that he could kill a Tracer or a Widowmaker with a single headshot.
He's basically back.
So they gave him back. It is important to mention Pat is playing on the PTR. When Batiste comes out fully, he will probably have been nerfed a little bit from all this. That's the whole point of the PTR. It's why I love the PTR so much. It's that people who choose to play on the public test realm get to play with some more broken characters, but get to play them early. And then people that just play regular Overwatch reap the benefits, basically.
Yeah. And so the other thing that's good about this is that nerfed Lucio and Zenyatta are in the PTR right now too. So if they get a lot of really bad reviews about these nerfs, they'll probably put them back or put them closer back to normal.
Well, they do a lot of research on it too. So like if the buff to Zenyatta's damage is not letting him survive longer, then they will go, oh well, maybe he needed that extra heal. You know?
Yeah. And so another thing too is the meta right now is 3 tanks, 2 heal, 3 tanks, 1 DPS and 2 healers.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get away from that.
Yes.
Which is why they're trying to lessen the heals so that more people have to go DPS to do damage. But at the same time, the way that Batiste works, I feel like that meta won't change.
Yeah.
I feel like the meta is going to still be 3 tanks.
Yes.
At least 2 tanks, obviously. But probably
that's not
3
changing
tanks.
anytime soon.
Yeah. It's probably going to be 3 tanks, a DPS, Batiste, and either Ana or Lucio. Because Ana still does the most healing out of anybody.
Yeah. In the hands of a good Ana.
Yeah, obviously.
It's kind of funny to me that... I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
I was just going to say Lucio will still do enough aerial heals while Batiste is healing that it's probably going to be fine.
It's crazy to me how different the meta is now from when the game came out. Because when the game came out, tanks did not have as much health as they have now. And healing was not as good. So DPS was the meta. It was to have 5 DPS and 1 tank. And that tank was Roadhog or Reinhardt.
Yeah.
Like, D.Va was not meta. Zarya was never meta. Like, the goal was get Roadhog where he can soak up damage and heal himself, or get Reinhardt where he shields and then gets out of the way till his shield comes back. And have 5 DPS to burst down your... And because back then you could have multiples of the same character, normally it was 4 McCree and 1 Genji. Yeah. And it's just crazy how much the meta's changed, you know?
Yeah. I will say too, like we just finally got out of this like mercy, literally mercy takeover.
Yeah, Mercy was insane for a while. I don't even like play the game anymore, but I follow it still. And
Mercy was ridiculous. They buffed her 2 times in a row.
yes,
And if you didn't have a Mercy, your team was going to lose. That was literally as how the game was. Even if you're not playing competitively, if they had a Mercy and you didn't, someone had to switch to Mercy or it was over. Because they were just gonna res everyone constantly. And it was just, and now that they've like nerfed her and kind of balanced everything, playing a lot better.
Yeah.
The new season started, I believe, yesterday or the day before yesterday, something like that. So I'm really excited. I'm gonna start playing my placement matches probably here pretty soon.
nice.
My little brother is already at platinum, which is pretty crazy.
Nice.
My little brother is really good at that game.
Sounds like it.
I am definitely a silver, low gold because I play the healer.
I'm just over here.
That's my problem. I play healer and I'm just sitting here. I have like 3 gold badges, 4 gold badges every single time. And I never get anywhere but silver or gold because I always lose. Teams auto lock. Terrible freaking heroes.
I play Zenyatta, Soldier, Diva. That's basically it. Like, I can play other characters, but those are the 3 that I play. And it's like, okay, none of those are getting a bunch of, like, Soldier. I'm doing good work as Soldier, but I'm doing my job, doing my part. Get Starship Troopers in here, but...
My bread and butter right now is Lucio. Still, I have, like, 20 hours in Lucio, or something like that. So Lucio, Orisa. I love playing Orisa.
Yeah.
I play Reinhardt, and I play. I also play Junkrat because Junkrat's literally just left click.
Junkrat is fun.
Left click.
Junkrat is very fun.
But I don't really play DPS. I'm not a DPS player. I've never been a DPS player.
I just love Soldier 76. Like, he was such a joke when he like first started, and then his kit gave him so many options that I think people really didn't expect him to be as good as he was. Just like we had the JoJo cast, we've had the Overwatch cast. Probably move on. How do we feel about games as a service? We're gonna talk about that in just a little bit when we get to Anthem. Because that's I had a feeling Pat and I were talking about how we might have time for a topic today. I had a feeling that was gonna take a little bit of time to talk about the games as a service thing. So that will depend on if we have a topic or not, I suppose. So we should move on
to another thing we're going to talk about for a long time.
Yeah, I feel like we'll be on this for a little bit. The Evo lineup has been announced.
I haven't even seen the full list. I need to look at this list.
Pretty good. Sam Show, Unist, Smash Ultimate, SF5, No Guilty Gear.
That one hurts.
Tekken 7, MK11.
Samurai Showdown?
Yeah, Sam Show! It's back!
I've never seen that before.
It's a remake, I guess is the way to word it, of an old fighting game that is still pretty, like, Samurai Showdown is still a lot of fun.
I've not heard of Under Night.
So, Under Night has been a series for a while. That's the problem. Nobody's heard of it. Which is why I'm so glad it's on the Evo lineup, because Under Night is hype. It's in Cross Tag Battle. Under Night is hype. Also, yeah, Cross Tag Battle's not back either.
Wait.
Or no, it is. Central
Blaze
Fiction's
Blue Cross Tag Battle.
Yeah, Central Fiction's not. Sorry.
I was about to say, I see it right here.
2 Blaze Blue games. One of them did not make the cut.
I'm looking at pictures of, like, Under Night gameplay. This looks good.
It's hype, man. So, the joke with Cross Tag Battle, for a long time, meta was Ruby Gordeau. And Gordeau is from Under Night. And really? I hadn't played Under Night until I played Cross Tag Battle, and I loved the Under Night character, so I went back and played some Under Night Rebirth, I think is what it was called, on PS3. Under Night's a pretty good fighting game, man.
This looks really good.
It's a pretty good fighting game.
When did this one come out?
That's the new one that came out 2 months ago, 3 months ago, I think.
If it was this year, I want to buy it.
That's the game that took Melee's spot.
Yep.
How rude would it be? You know how much I try to be professional on this podcast. I want to tell you right now what my original plan for this was. There was a bit that was involved, which is that I was going to pull out a piece of paper that I had printed off that had Melee's picture on it. And then I was going to throw it on the ground and I was going to do a dance on top.
I love that. I have a comment that I want to make that I think is going to sum up exactly how we feel. So, if you're one of those people out there that cannot get your panties out of a wad because Melee's not here anymore, you should be happy that Melee has been at EVO this long.
I agree.
Melee has been at EVO forever.
7 years, I think. I think it's 7 years.
And it's been there while brand new Smash games are there. I'm not trying to say that you're wrong for not wanting your game to be there. I'm not trying to say you're a terrible person for being upset. But I am saying that if you're going to continue to be a child, you shouldn't be at EVO. Because that's not for children. That's for the men. And you're a baby.
So, I do want to say, I like Melee. I like playing Melee. I like watching Melee. Melee is not dead. Just because Melee's not at EVO doesn't mean it's going anywhere. The Melee scene will continue. They're going to still have all their tournaments. They got another tournament coming up next month. That's still happening. That's not... Those Melee pro players aren't going anywhere. Except maybe off of Twitter after how most of them reacted.
Yeah.
I want to read off Andrew's thoughts real quick, and then I'm going to come back to mine. Andrew says, no Melee at EVO was just a matter of time. Grow up and move on. I wish they still played Marvel vs. Capcom 2, as it's my favorite fighting game ever, but times change. And so my point to all this is, hey, Melee players that are all upset about this, at least your game got a farewell video. Because Guilty Gear Xrd Rev 2 brought so much hype, brought anime fighters back into EVO. And it is gone with no fanfare or anything. If not for Xrd Rev, Dragon Ball Fighters would not have been at EVO.
That game was so good too. Like, I don't understand why they're not going to keep having
There's only so many slots. You got to have the new hotness.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat 11, Sam Show, you got to have them. Also,
man, that game is so well-rounded as a fighting game.
To all of the comments about how Eunice bought its way into EVO, that dev team is like 40 people. They did not buy their way into EVO. EVO recognized that for the years now, people have been playing Under Night at EVO, not on the main stage, inside tournaments, and finally decided to give them some love. So if you cannot accept the fact that your game is not center stage this year, then you need to understand that all the rest of us have been doing this for years. When the new game comes out, you move on to the new game. No, Armada, it does not make us sheep because we move on to the new game. We still play the old game, but we understand that EVO is going to move on to the new game. It's just how it works. I still prefer Street Fighter 2 to Street Fighter 4 and 5. But SF5 is going to be on the tournament stage, and I understand that. I can still play Street Fighter 2, just like you can still play Melee. So lay off. I think I got all my thoughts out there.
I think that was good. I mean, that's the thing. Like we said, like both of you said, like I said, like Melee's been at EVO for a long time, and you have to be happy about that. And instead of being grateful that the game that you love has been represented at EVO years on years, while some games will never see EVO, you throw a fit, and that's just wrong. Like, that's wrong. Don't, you know what?
Yeah.
Just don't go to EVO. Like,
Well, and to be fair, there's a lot of people that aren't throwing fits, but the problem is there's a whole lot that are.
Yeah.
Like, there's a whole lot that were straight up, like, calling out FGC presenters. Again, Armada's referenced the fact that all the rest of us that aren't upset about this must be sheep that just move from game to game and don't have any game loyalty.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I refuse to... I'm sorry that I don't refuse to move on and play brand new games and play the exact same game every single day my entire life.
I think we have proven that we have loyalty in that I have an over 100 video series on this channel playing Gundam Versus, a game that's not ever going to get to be at EVO. But yeah, sure, we don't have any brand loyalty. We don't stick to any one game.
Yeah.
I'm getting a lot of aggression building up here, and I need to calm back down.
I think we've said everything.
I think so,
we
too.
need to say. I think you're right. And I think that we're all right, which is time to move on.
Still play EVO or still play Melee. I'm still gonna play Melee. I'm not gonna let your attitudes about me stop me from playing Melee.
In fact, make sure that you're playing Melee while we're watching EVO.
Yeah.
So you don't ruin EVO with your terrible comments about how Melee is not there. Because I guarantee you, the very first comment on that live stream, where's Melee?
EVO would be so much better if Melee was here.
Yeah.
Like,
go play Melee.
I'm still going to watch pro players play Melee. I don't know if I'm rooting for a lot of you anymore after the way that you acted about all this. I'm not a huge fan of being called a sheep by somebody that I used to respect. That's not cool. Being told that I'm part of the problem with the FGC, that's not cool.
At least they didn't get replaced by Jump Force.
Yes, that is. I wanted to reference Will's comment there.
Yep.
At least Jump Force didn't make it to the stage, because then I would be mad at EVO. I would be taken to the streets then for going like, EVO, what are you doing, guys? The worst part is, like, none of those people that are throwing fits over Melee watch our podcast. None of those people are ever going to see this, but we got our thoughts out.
And this is the last comment I'm going to make. I bet you a lot of them don't even play Melee. They're doing it for the meme.
Yeah, I'm afraid you're probably right. And
this is going to sound terrible, but it's the same thing with the Waluigi thing. A lot of people don't actually love Waluigi. Well, there's a huge community of people who love Waluigi. Some people were just joining on to that because it's a meme, and we live in a world where if you're not actually like Trey and buying Waluigi, remember, like, all types of Waluigi stuff.
I got his amiibo, I got his plushie, I got his shirt, somewhere I got his hat. I'm a true Waluigi fan, right?
You're legit jumping on the train. And I guarantee you a lot of those Melee people are like, oh, it's the new meme. It's the new meme. I gotta post about this on Reddit. It's the new meme. And that's where our society's at. Yeah. Where else our society's at?
Where's that?
Remember whenever people were saying that Fallen Order was gone?
Yeah.
We never hear anything about it.
Yeah.
You're wrong, baby. You're wrong.
Fallen Order's coming out. More info's coming out. The game's not coming out, but we're learning more about it. April 13th. That game's not as dead as people thought it was.
There's going to be a whole panel dedicated to it.
Yep.
So, it's alive and well. I'm excited to see what they're going to do. I don't have high expectations.
Real worried.
I don't have high expectations on purpose. But I'm excited because I want to see what they're doing.
I'm excited too. I think we'll see hopefully some good stuff, but I'm also worried.
Yeah. Keep the expectations low on purpose.
So, after that, a game that I spent $60 on is about to be free for everybody. There's a free version of it anyway. On March 12th, Dissidia NT, the free version, comes out. I still kind of want to do a stream of the story mode of that game. We were originally going to do it as a solo LP that I was going to do. I promised to do it way back when. I still kind of want to do that. We're probably going to do that at some point. Because I own the full version. It won't just be the free version. The free version will have, I think, all the characters, but none of the costumes. Like, you had to unlock those by playing or buy them. But I liked playing that game. It's got some problems, but I liked playing it a lot. Andrew had some thoughts on that as well. He is excited about Dissidia NT as he wanted to play it, but did not want to spend $60 on it, and now it'll be free on Steam.
That's exciting.
Free version is already out in Singapore. Wow. King, I will bring that up in a minute because we have some other bands to talk about. I don't really want to spend a lot of time on this because this was just a stupid decision all around. And I can't believe it happened. But THQ Nordic did an AMA. Like, oh, that sounds like, where'd they do it? On Twitter or Reddit or etc. Where'd they do that AMA? 8chan. Claiming they didn't know about all the associations with all the stuff that 8chan's wrapped up in. All they had to do was just Google.
Just use the internet. Be on the internet for 5 minutes.
So, like, they've backtracked from it all now, and we're like, hey, this was a huge mistake. We shouldn't have done this. The CEO was like, hey, this is all my fault. I shouldn't have allowed this to happen. And it's like, yeah, no, you should not have. They're going to be stepping as far away from this as possible, as quickly as possible. The worst part is, though, the internet doesn't forget. So, like, THQ Nordic, their next game, I guarantee is going to get a lot of buzz on 8chan. And it was bad. No, they didn't do it on 4chan. They did it on 8chan. It was bad.
Rough stuff.
So yeah, that shouldn't have happened. Don't know why that happened. Don't do that. If you're gonna do an AMA somewhere,
stop it.
Pay attention to where you're doing it, please. Devotion is a game that came out on Steam. It's a scary, I don't like the term walking simulator, because, like, those games have stuff in them to do. It's not like you're just walking around, some of them. But that's basically what it is, right? It got review bombed. Because, so this takes some explaining. They put a picture in there, or not a picture, they put basically like a voodoo doll in there, of the president of China. And obviously that was because it's made in China.
Oh, okay.
Obviously very political. Like... very political. Did not need to be in their game at all, first off. But they also, there's a meme about how the current president of China, Xi Jinping, looks like Winnie the Pooh. If you Google him, you will have an opinion on this. I will not tell you how you should feel on it, but so it's not just that they made a voodoo doll of him, it's that they made a voodoo doll of him as Winnie the Pooh. Obviously he didn't take to this very well. A bunch of citizens of China did not take to this very well, and the game got review bombed on Steam. They have since removed the voodoo doll, saying that they never should have done it, that it was a mistake, that there was no need to make this game politically charged. I don't know what game companies are thinking lately. Did you see a picture? Did you see a picture?
I'm not gonna comment.
I don't know what companies are thinking lately.
I'm not gonna comment.
Like, it's like THQ Nordic going to 8chan, Devotion devs doing this. It's like somebody went, what if we let our company be run by just the internet for like a day? What would happen? You know? It's like, what are you doing? No, why would you? Did you think nobody was going to notice? Did you think nobody would? What? No, stop. So, yeah, that happened. It has since been removed. The game is unfortunately still, like, bombed, but, you know, hey, take it all with a grain of salt, I guess. You don't see it, King? To each their own. Some cool news is that there's a new mod for Mr. X on the RE2 remake on Steam. And it's maybe the best thing ever. There's a mod for Mr. X, turns him into Thomas the Tank Engine. And that's cool enough on its own, right? But there's a second version of the mod, which makes it where when he's on another side of a wall from you, you can't hear it. But when he's in the same room as you, or when he busts through a wall, you just hear do 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 as Thomas the Tank Engine just rolls towards you.
So I saw this on Twitter, and at first I was like, "Wait, is this RE2?" And then the door opens, and it's just Thomas the Train, and I was just like, "What?"
Oh, we referenced that mod at the time, King, and that mod was good. The X gonna give it to you mod, but like, this mod is just so beautiful.
It's something special.
I have to buy this game now on PC for this mod. Dude,
how can you be scared when you're laughing so hard?
He's also super intimidating when he comes through. Like, I saw one clip of somebody playing as Claire, and they had just gone through a door, and they shrugged off a zombie, and they were still right beside the door, and the room was super dark. And all of a sudden, just Thomas the Tank Engine's head comes through the door, and then he's just going, boom, boom, boom.
Here, I'll link it in chat.
It was so good. So yeah, that's great. So, moving on, you remember you remember how WoW Classic became a thing?
Yes.
Well, you remember how everybody threw a fit because they hate new WoW and they just wanted old WoW back again?
Mm-hmm.
And we said at the time that people didn't want old WoW. They thought they wanted old WoW.
Yep.
So
it's almost like they didn't want old WoW.
Warlock demons back in the day, when you tried to summon a new one from your list of demons, the old one went away. That was fixed in patch 1.12. Andrew gathered all that information for us here. Now, of course, Classic WoW does not have patch 1.12. Or no, that's currently the one it's on. It was fixed after that patch. So now when you try to summon your new demon, your old demon vanishes as soon as. Which means if you're using your demon to tank, and you try to switch to a different demon, because it's a lot easier to just switch demons than just to heal your demon, the monster is now on you while you're trying to cast. Which is why they fixed it in World of Warcraft patches, so that didn't happen. It's almost like the original version of the game still has a bunch of problems because they haven't been fixed.
Yep.
Oh, and it's just Andrew's comment here of just proof that people don't really want vanilla WoW and take for granted all the improvements Blizzards have made over the years.
Yep.
Yep.
That's all I can say.
So, from there, Apex Legends has hit 50 million players.
That is a huge accomplishment.
Yep. Apex has taken over.
Didn't he have comments about this as well?
Not for Apex, no.
No. One thing I want to say is, like, way to go, Respawn. Way to go, Respawn. Like, that's awesome. That's just amazing.
I agree.
I'm excited to see where they're gonna go with this because obviously they're gonna be getting a lot of money. I mean, people are playing the game; they're gonna be getting, some type of income from this. So I'm really excited to see what they're gonna be able to do with all of the support that they're getting now.
Yeah, I agree.
But
I was gonna type this, but I guess I'll just say it. To mention King's comment, he said that he feels like WoW Classic wasn't a problem until all the unupdated Classic servers people hosted were shut down. That's when the problem actually started. Of when all those got shut down, people said, "Oh yeah, Classic WoW, that's what we really want," and they didn't really want Classic WoW. The people that were playing on those servers did and weren't complaining about it, but a vast increase in people saying they wanted it happened when people found out people were playing on Classic servers, And those people didn't act like they have forced Blizzard basically to update WoW Classic multiple times to fix things that they complained about. And it just really it stands out to me of like, hey, if you wanted Classic, just play it then. That's what you want. Don't complain about it. And it's a problem for the people who just wanted to play 1.0 that could before, now can't, and now are forced to play the updated versions because people keep begging for updates.
Mm-hmm.
But so now we'll get into the band thing. Anthem. You remember how for a long time we were just talking about Fallout 76 mistakes?
Yep. Time to switch it up, baby.
Yep. Anthem has now reached that role. Anthem has, I guess the right phrase is they have banned a player for exploiting the economy, as they put it. And I want to reference, King brought it up earlier, Fallout 76, a bunch of the bans that we had heard about back then were false. The one that wasn't was the guy with too much ammo. That one was true. This guy has a very similar kind of story, except it's that he was doing a thing that people have been doing in video games for a very long time. And he has a whole video. I'll see if I can find his video again, and I'll link it in the description. But he has a whole video talking about, like, very openly talking about the stuff he was doing. He was doing a rotation of world chests to get loot from them, because he knew where they were. And he was dying on a boss right after it died, so that he could redo the boss fight over and over for loot, which is a thing people have done in video games for many years. There used to be a really good way to do it in Diablo 2, to be able to just constantly get loot from the final boss. And it's something that we've done for many years, you know? Mm-hmm. BioWare's response to all this was just to ban him. And whether you think they were right in this, or whether you think they were wrong in this, if you think they're right, please tell me in the comment section down below how you think they are justified in this decision. Because I would love to see some good counter arguments other than just, it's their game, they can do what they want, which is what I got on Twitter. I will remind you of the loot cave in Destiny. In Destiny 1, there was a cave that had endlessly spawning enemies in it. And you could fire into that cave for like 15 minutes straight. And then when you went in the cave, it was just full of engrams you could pick up. Full. I did that for 3.5 hours with a group of people. When Bungie decided that, hey, this is a problem, we got to do something about it, I did not get banned. They just stopped the endlessly spawning enemies in the cave.
Simple fix.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy way to do that. And King brings up the thing, yeah, if you don't want somebody to farm, don't ban the players, fix the farm. In FF14, there was a really, or FF11, I'm sorry. Absolute Virtue was that one boss that everybody wanted to kill, right? That nobody could take down because it had 2-hour abilities. There was a spot on the map that you could stand where ranged casters who had the best range in the game could hit Absolute Virtue without aggroing him. You could just do that. So we did. We didn't get to kill him because his 2-hour abilities kicked in. But you could do that. And instead of banning everybody, Square Enix just fixed that spot of the map. Couldn't do that anymore. When a character in a fighting game is broken and has an undroppable combo, they don't ban the player that's using it in tournaments. They don't kick him out of the tournament scene. They pay attention to it, they take the information, and they make sure it doesn't happen again. They change the character so it can't do that anymore. And it's completely ridiculous to me to ban a player that is playing your game that has all this negative, like, feedback and all this negative mindset about it, and he is one of the people playing your game, streaming your game, and you ban him for this. So Andrew has a thought here. BioWare banned a streamer because apparently BioWare doesn't understand the basic concept of loot games. Great fail on their part. Papa EA gonna take them for a walk to the dev graveyard.
Yep.
He's 100% right.
We've been saying that Anthem was gonna have problems from the beginning.
But I was so hopeful for it, though.
I hated to be that guy then. I don't hate to be that guy now.
You were right. You know what? Here you go. You were right.
I somehow knew this game was gonna be not necessarily bad, but have problems. A lot of them. And I was right. And I hate that I'm right because there's a lot of people out there that love this game.
Yeah, and I'm glad they enjoy it.
And you should keep playing the game because it's the only way the devs know that their job is worth something. But that doesn't fix the problem.
Right.
Banning somebody that is still like you said, this person is playing your game whenever, like, less than 2 weeks after it's out. It's in the bargain bin.
Well, he wasn't a small-time streamer either. He had like 50K followers.
Like, what are you doing? This person is literally trying to essentially promote your game.
Well, like King put it in the chat, there's also basically QAing the game for free for him.
Yep. But instead, you're going to ban him because it's the only way you can think to fix a problem.
That's
Go
ahead.
Enjoy reaping the benefits of the last game that you made because EA is literally going to just trash can you so hard.
That's not the worst of the stuff with Anthem, though.
Not surprised.
So, I noticed it in the demo, and it was happening to other people in the demo, but it happened to me in the demo. While King and Artaka and I were playing and capturing footage, I got booted back not to the game's title screen, but back to my PS4's title screen. Like, it basically restarted my PS4. That is happening to people, to not a small number of people. I saw at least 200 people that reported the problem. That's just in the ones that I saw on Reddit. Whether all those people are telling the truth or not, at least some of them are. It bricked their console. Because it reset their console and it didn't come back on.
What do you do in that situation?
You send it in for repairs. Or you buy a new one.
That's the thing. Like, what if you've had that? What if that was one of the first consoles? Like the original PS4?
Too bad, so sad, I guess. Like, that's the worst part.
No. EA or Anthem devs have to be responsible for that.
No Man's Sky didn't when it was breaking consoles. Killzone didn't when it was breaking consoles. Yeah, King brought up the bug in chat that can kill your PS4 sound card.
There's no way that they can get away with that. There's got to be something out there somewhere.
So in light of all this, Sony is offering a refund for Anthem. Not for brick consoles, but for Anthem. You purchased Anthem and you bought it from Sony, like digitally, or bought a physical copy from their website. I don't even know if you can still do that, but you used to. Then they will refund it for you.
That's effing sad. Your game's in the bargain bin.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't even been out for, what, 2 months yet?
Yeah.
It's in the bargain bin. People are getting refunds from Sony.
Hmm?
Sony! Like, what are you doing?
I heard a car door. Please go ahead. I'll be right back.
You're good. So that, to me, that's worse than the Bethesda thing. Like, I mean, because let's be real here, guys. Like, well, there is a lot of people that like Fallout 76, and I'm not trying to sit here and say Fallout 76 is literally the worst thing on the planet, because it's not. But, you have to admit Bethesda's had some issues. How do you program a game that messes with the console's basic functions? That's what I'm saying. Like, there's no way that they can legally not be at fault for that. There's got to be something that you can do as a consumer to, collect damages from that. I mean, they literally destroyed your property at that point. They damaged your property. You purchased a console for enjoyment, and you're sitting here now thinking, well, I spent, $400 and it's now a paperweight. That's not fair. There's no way that's not fair. I'm glad at least Sony's willing to do the refunds for the game, but I mean that's still not enough. Like $60 does not equal $400. Let's be real here. Like, man, I couldn't imagine being one of those people that like you go to Walmart or GameStop or wherever. You're super excited. You've been working and saving up money, and you buy the new PS4 Pro. And you're super excited because Anthem came out, and you're like, man, I can't wait. I'm gonna get a PS4 Pro. I'm gonna get an Xbox One X. I'm gonna get Anthem, and I'm gonna play this game. It's gonna be great. And you sit down and you start playing that game, and 2 hours in, that $400, $500 console that you just bought is now ruined. I was basically saying, Trey, that could you imagine somebody saved up money, like a kid, for example, they save up money and they finally get enough money to buy an Xbox One X. They finally get enough money to buy a PS4 Pro. They've been working for a long time for this. Anthem comes out, they've been waiting for it, they get the game, and they play for 2 hours and their console's bricked. There is no way that they cannot be liable for that. There's no way. Man, dude, it's just ridiculous. Okay. Gotcha. Hey, you'd be like that sometimes. Yeah. Awesome. That is super exciting. Well, I mean, if they don't use that money for that, they have to send it back to you legally.
I'm still muted. I wasn't. I'm not. Now I'm not muted. Thanks, Kick.
Welcome back, Trey.
Yeah, hey, that was my cousin. I almost brought him on the podcast, but I didn't because he's younger and the YouTube stuff going on. He got to see my messy house. And then I was talking about how I had some good news. Because Chained Echoes, that Kickstarter that I backed, has been finished. It's not finished. Been funded. I'm excited for it if it happens. I hope it does. I hope it's not a scam. But
So all I was saying is there's if they don't use that money towards the actual project, they have to give it back to you legally, apparently, according to the way Kickstarter works.
Yes. There are still twice that I have not got my money back.
I believe it.
2 instances. One of
they
which
just keep
because
claiming
it's
that they're working on it,
still happening, even though I don't think, and don't make fun of me too much for backing these 2 things. Chat. Many years ago, I was fans of both of these channels, like big time fans. Toby Turner's game is not ever happening. He's not even making YouTube. Tobuscus. And Yog Ventures was the other one that I backed, the Yogscast game. Instead of getting my money back, they were able to find a legal loophole that let them give you a key to another game instead to fulfill the promise. And it was a terrible, poor budget Minecraft clone that I did not want.
It's rough.
Never got my money back on those 2. I guess and Mighty Number 9, right? Since I never got my code. So that's 3. Yeah. That's 3. Show me now.
No.
Also, other exciting news. There was another Kickstarter that I put some money into that has also been funded. You guys ever heard of Critical Role?
Yes.
They are, for anyone who hasn't, because I thought Pat would go with a bit for me there. For anyone who has not, Critical Role is a series where they play Dungeons and Dragons on Geek and Sundry. Basically, they decided they wanted to make a short animation, a 22-minute, like, one-off animated special. Of the first campaign that they did, the Vox Machina campaign. And that was pretty cool, right? That's a cool idea. They went to a couple different publishers to try and get backing for it. And oh, I just caught up. Yeah, I just caught up to what King was referencing because of the YouTube comments thing. They went to a couple different publishers and they got some tentative answers of, yeah, we could fund this, but you would have to change some. And they didn't want to change some stuff. They didn't want to make Dungeons and Dragons Big Bang Theory style. They wanted to make their story, you know? So they decided to reach out to crowdfunding. And whether you're a fan of Critical Role or not, I think this is a really good idea, first off, to have this. Not that you have to fund, like, put money in, but I think it's a good idea for it to exist. Because D&D has blown up so much more over the last couple of years. And the idea of an animated special that will wind up on streaming sites along with anime and things like Netflix, obviously, is definitely what I'm referencing, nothing else.
Yeah. Because why would it be on anything other than Netflix?
Not secret Netflix, just regular Netflix.
Absolute 100% bona fide Netflix.
Having it on there where people could accidentally find it while trying to find anime and then being subjected to D&D, you know, having it as a thing that could air on their channel that maybe even, like, obviously not like small kids because, like, they don't shy away from stuff, but like teenagers and stuff, to give them another chance to find D&D. I think that's really cool. And then as a fan myself of Critical Role, I really enjoyed Campaign 1. I'm really enjoying Campaign 2. And I just think it's a really cool idea to have Campaign 1, you know, done up that way. So obviously I wanted to back it. It hit funding within the first 2 hours. The funding was like 75K, I think, is what the funding was. Oh, my cousin had sent me a message too. Whoops. Asking if I was home. Let me respond to that real quick.
Should say no.
Said I just saw this message. Sorry. Let's see. Let me get to the page here for it. The original goal was like 75K. They're over 3 million now.
Wow. Wow.
So not only is it now happening, it's also twice as long as it was. Now it's 44 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably a lot more they can do with that much money.
Yeah, the original goal was 750K. And they are now at $3,313. Yeah, so that's happening. That's really cool. Yeah, Verve does do a lot of D&D style shows, so it'd be really cool to see it on Verve as well. Definitely what I was talking about, nothing else. But yeah, this absolutely is such a cool idea. You should look up, whether you're interested in like giving the money or not. Obviously, like, they've got plenty. You should at least look up the teaser video they did to show what it looks like. Character designs look really good, and I'm really interested to see how you convert a D&D campaign into an animated special, because obviously it can't all be verbatim, right? They can't have the table and then, because it's all going to be in character, so like they have to translate all of that and translate like DM doing things into animation, which I think is really cool. And the video that they showed was really
I'm excited.
Yeah, I am too.
I honestly might get on Kickstarter again and go donate $1.
I mean, you should at least check it out, man. Because like, honestly, I think Critical Role's worth watching. You know, just in and of itself.
Mhm.
But I think you should at least check out the trailer for it because pretty good. Pretty good.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, I'm excited. I have seen how Harmon Quest does it. I think those are pretty cool. I'm not a huge fan of the storyline in Harmon Quest. Does that make sense? Like, it's not bad or anything. I'm just not a huge fan of it. I guess to each their own, right? But it just doesn't resonate with me. But I do think the way they do it is really
Sweet.
From there, the last big thing that we had is Dota 2 Auto Chess. Do you know what this is, Pattrick?
Not a clue.
It has almost nothing to do with chess. But basically, Dota 2 characters, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like a mini game where you get currency based on winning like chess piece matches. Like you choose as if they were chess pieces, and then the matches happen, and if you win the match, you get more currency that you can use to buy better heroes in the match. And there's a bunch of other players also trying to do it. It's really hard to explain. You kind of just have to watch it, you know? It also doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, there's no tutorial or anything, so I don't understand a lot of it. But it's a mod for Dota 2.
Mm-hmm.
And what's cool about this is that Dota 2 was a mod for Warcraft 3 that started the whole MOBA genre. Because that's not what Warcraft 3 was. Warcraft 3 was an RTS. Is an RTS.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy to me that somebody took and made a mod of Warcraft 3. Valve bought it. Made Dota 2 a MOBA. And then now somebody's made a mod of that to make this auto chess.
Hey, maybe it'll get bought and made into a game.
Hey, maybe. It has more concurrent players and viewers than the card game that Valve made. So, you know. But yeah, that's all the news that I had for this week. The fan is making a weird noise. Lots of interruptions today. Andrew had a message for everybody. Says that he loves you guys and love the fans, love us. That's you guys. That's us. Sorry, Pat.
Sweet.
And love the fans who have stuck with us. He'll come back even stronger next week. As always, he has been Andrew. Love you. Andrew's parting message for the podcast to everybody. It's always bad when he can't be here. We miss him when he can't be here. We miss Pat when he can't be here. Nobody misses me when I'm not here. But yeah, we do absolutely miss our co-host. It's just not as fun of a show with just two of us. I mean, it's still fun, but it's not like
yeah, it's a very different dynamic. We have to like, granted, like the conversations are very like much back and forth.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes we interrupt each other and stuff like that. But being able to have a third opinion on something is always amazing.
Yes. Well, and also you and I agree on a lot of things. And like Andrew does not. And it's not a slight to him. It's good that there's somebody that, you know, has a differing opinion on it. But you and I very much, I think, have similar opinions on most things until it comes to Sasuke as a character. And
I like new Sasuke.
Sasuke. I don't hate new Sasuke. Probably the best thing I've ever said about Sasuke. Now Pat is getting a weird sound from a fan.
Sounds like somebody's talking like right outside my wall.
You need me to go tackle him?
Yeah, I need you to fly all the way over here and tackle someone that's outside.
Okay, hold on. Let me first go get my HM axe and my HM jetpack.
Perfect. Thank you.
Then I'll use cut. So yeah, do you want to try and tackle a topic? We're almost to the end of the podcast. It's up to you.
I mean, if you think we can kill it in like 12 minutes or so, yeah.
Yeah, we can try. Do you have one in mind? Because Games as a Service is the one that Chad asked about earlier.
Yeah, we could talk about that.
It's up to you.
Or we could talk about the, like I was saying earlier, where why people will buy games that are a part of a chain of games, even though games in the past of that chain have like slowly been going down in productivity, I guess
Quality.
would be the right word. Quality, yeah.
Yeah, I think part of it is brand loyalty.
Yeah.
Take that, Armada. But I can't help it. I'm sorry, just sniping away.
Yeah.
Um,
I
but
mean, we can
like,
still talk as games as a live service.
I think honestly a lot of it is brand loyalty. It's I've played all of these games, so I have to play and like the new one, especially when it's bad. Because if I don't, nobody will. You know, like that's the mindset I think a lot of people have. Especially like New Gundam Breaker was one that I noticed a lot of people. Like, I don't want to say unreasonable people, but I noticed a lot of people that were just like, well, it's a Gundam game, so I have to buy it so I support Gundam games in the West, and I have to like it because if I don't, Bandai will know and they won't make any more Gundam games. And whereas, again, I don't want to say reasonable, but the other people were saying, no, we don't want them to keep making games. Know that, buying it.
Yeah. I feel like it's one thing if you buy a game and voice your opinion that it's bad, and try to still be like, supportive that
Yeah.
way by, you buy the games so they still have funding, but you're like, hey, I bought the game but it was trash, like I need you
Yes.
to fix this.
Like Jump Force.
Versus buying the game and, like you said, just going, oh, well, it's Gundam, so I love it.
Yeah.
And
Another
that's
problem
not
too.
helping.
No, it's not. Another problem too is the incentive of the purchase, which is, well, if I say this game's bad, then I wasted 60. But if I convince myself that it's good, then I didn't waste 60.
Yeah.
And it happened a lot when the Xbox One first came out and there was nothing to play on it.
Yeah.
Where people would be like, no, the Xbox One's clearly the best console because I can do everything else with it. Watch my TV with it, I can Blu-rays, I can tie everything in, my cable, I can do everything from this one box. It's like, but you could also do that without that box.
Exactly.
And it's trying to justify a purchase, I think that happens far too often.
Yeah. So for example, like with me and 2K, I played NBA Live when I was a kid, and NBA Live slowly died and fell off, and 2K
Yes.
was the new hotness. And I played 2K, and at the time it was still great. And I feel like all of the games have had great things. Some games were bad, but still fun to play.
Yes.
So, for example, there's a lot of people that disagree with me, but 2K14 I did not like at all. I thought it was a terrible game, but I still bought it and played it because of two or three different things. One of them being, I love having the updated roster because that's literally what we buy the game for most of the time.
Right.
Also because you hope that there's at least somewhat decent upgrades to those games
Yes.
as you go in within the years. Another one that was bad was 2K18. I didn't like that game. Thought it was really bad. The story was bad. People had problems with the VC stuff. I mean, that game probably got the most hype out of all of the games that have come out so far, except for maybe 2K12 or 13 when Jay-Z was on it, and that was the reason it got the hype, was because it had Jay-Z on it. But, putting that aside, the reason I buy these games every year is because I want an updated roster. I want, hopefully upgrades to gameplay or like the look or something.
Yeah.
And I'll always support the game. I'll keep supporting the games. And I'm supporting NBA Live. I bought this last NBA Live. I didn't like it, so I don't play it. But I want them to be able to make better games, so I bought the game, and then I left comments about the game on their website saying, hey, these are the problems. If these problems got fixed, I'd probably play the game. But I bought it because I want you to have funding.
I guess my counter argument to that would be, most of the time those companies don't care about your comments.
That's true.
They just want your money, and once they got your purchase, they're good. You know?
Yeah.
Like that's unfortunately the what I see most of the time. It's just like Anthem right now, right? Everybody, there's been some great think pieces on Anthem. We've talked before about how I'm not a huge fan of Angry Joe, like because of some stuff that happened back with his Wii U that was crowdfunded and everything. But he put out a great 1 hour review, followed or like a 15-minute review, followed by a 1 hour discussion on the review, talking about all the different problems. BioWare doesn't care. They got their purchase, you know? It's unfortunate. It's the same with Bandai about Jump Force. They don't care because they got their money, you know? And that would be my counter argument to the idea of buy it anyway so you can tell them the problems with
it. Yeah. As far as like whether or not which game I'm gonna buy this year and things like that, I probably wouldn't buy NBA Live. I would want to rent it.
Yeah. Game Pass.
If they do that,
I think they probably will.
Yeah. But I mean, I have to be real when I say like, I'm gonna buy every 2K. I used to be the same way with Madden until Madden, in my opinion, burned me with that terribly short campaign that was actually decent.
What about Spike Lee?
I'm gonna keep buying the game, and I'm gonna keep playing it, and I as long as they don't go away from the main core of the game that I like, the core part of the game that I like, I'll always have fun.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be like one of those things where it's like, it'll be bad, maybe, but I'll still have fun. So I'm gonna play it because I'm gonna have fun.
So we could segue this into the games as a live service discussion, because I want to ask you, would you prefer if instead of coming out with a new game every year, it was just the same game and it was an expansion? To change the roster and everything.
I would love that for sports games.
Yes.
I would love that for sports games. But some games, I don't think that would work.
Right. No, I don't. I mean, I was speaking specifically about the sports.
Yeah, no, sports games would be perfect for that. Because then you could spend more time working on the game.
Yes, absolutely.
And I would love that, but I don't think that they would make as much money.
Yes.
So they won't do that.
No, I agree. They would not make as much.
I would like that though, especially games like FIFA, where the rosters are changing almost year round because they have different leagues in that game, and there's so many players in those leagues that if they did it, that would be perfect because they wouldn't have to focus on, hey, this game's done, next game. They could be like, hey, let's work on the next roster while you guys are working on the roster. We're gonna work on graphic updates and we'll set a date. Then the date, so it would be like releasing the game, but instead of releasing a new game, you pay the service, and it's just an update.
Yes.
It's not a complete rework of a game.
Yes, and that's the advantage of games as a live service. There are advantages and disadvantages, obviously, but like again, you knew it was going to come up. FF14, FF14, they have slowly dropped support for older graphics cards for PS3 support, you know, and have given graphical updates. And they say ahead of time, hey, this is the date when the graphics are changing. Be prepared. This is the date. Or they bundle it in with the expansion. But by having games as a service with, like, the good part of it is that you can take in those information. You can find the thing that people are saying that is the problem and you can fix it. So the big one that stands out to me is an FF14 Machinist in Heavensward. Whatever reason, they decided to take Machinist and give it a cast time. So, like, you're firing a gun, but you have to stop and charge up the shot, basically.
Yeah.
So you before were super maneuverable, now you're not, right?
Yeah.
People hated that for good reason. So they removed that. They reduced the damage a little bit because it was too powerful without the cast time, but they removed that. And again, if you had these sports games that come out every year on this cycle, instead as a service, then you would have the option of, hey, this is a little too strong. Let's bump this back. Being able to nerf and buff. However, there's also negatives to it. The biggest negative is games that come out too early.
Yeah.
Because it's a service and we can fix it later. Anthem, Destiny 1, Division 1, it's a problem. They have to stop doing this. And for what it's worth, Destiny 2 came out with a lot of content. I still didn't like Destiny 2 at launch, but it came out with a lot of content, Division 2 looks like it's going to come out with a ton of stuff in it. Like, that's great. But in all that, it's just like, man, what are you doing,
I feel like if they did sports games as a service, it would be perfect though, because so you work on the roster year round, and you have one small team that their sole focus is roster.
Yeah.
Roster, updating the way they look if they changed their haircut this week, changing when players make trades, teams make trades, etc. And then you have a whole, the big part of your team work on the graphical side, and they can spend 3 years, 2 years making a huge graphical change. And then when they make that change, this huge thing happens where the game looks completely brand new instead of it looking like the same game every year.
Yes.
Almost. Man, that would be so nice.
And
it won't happen. It won't make enough money.
It won't, unfortunately. Well, they could. If it was, would you pay $15 a month for that?
Easily.
In my opinion, they could easily make up more money then, because they're getting twice as much money as they get from the average consumer if they stay subbed all year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Twice as much. Actually, that's 3 times as much, because in 4 months you've paid $60.
Yeah.
But the other big advantages of games as a service, as Chad has pointed out, games that came out and had problems but weren't games that were pushed out too early, like Rainbow Six Siege, Far Cry 5, Watch Dogs 2, that is, games that had a lot of content in the game already, time passed and they kind of got stale, were revitalized,
Yeah.
with this continuing service. Even like For Honor, as much as I do not like that game, it has become a completely different game than it was, But the other thing is, when you ship a game, do you intend for it to be finished, or do you intend to finish it later? Because I love Final Fantasy 15. Final Fantasy 15 is one of my favorite Final Fantasies. That game's great. That game was not finished when it came out. And they intended to finish it.
I feel like you should be finishing games before you ship them.
I 100% agree.
I feel like you're doing a disjustice to your consumer.
Yes, 100%.
You're promising them a complete game, and you're giving them 75%, 50%, 80%, whatever. That's just garbage. That's gonna make me mad. I'm not gonna try to talk about that too much, because that's,
and it's unfortunately part of this process. Because Anthem next year is gonna be a good game. When they got all these bugs fixed and they've added a bunch of content, it's gonna be a good game. But it launched this year, and it probably should have launched next year. And it's just again, do the pros, and this is the question, do the pros of games as a service outweigh the negatives?
So I have 2 things. The first thing, I'm going to answer your question because it'll be on everyone's mind still. It depends on if you finish the game or not.
Okay.
If you finish the game, the pros easily outweigh the cons. If you don't finish the game, cons outweigh the pros, and a lot of times your game fails. The other thing I wanted to say is that, okay, so how long has Anthem been in the works?
6 years.
You mean to tell me that in 6 years you couldn't complete a game?
Apparently not.
And in a world where people make games in less than a year, and you took 6, This was supposed to be. See, it's like that's the thing with Anthem. Like I don't see it being a good game next year.
I
don't see it being a good game at all.
This last Call of Duty was in the works for what, 2 years?
Yeah.
It's so much more finished and polished than Anthem is. And Anthem had 6.
6 whole years.
There is no way Anthem did not get rebooted halfway through development. I'm thinking 4 years of work got flushed down the.
Had to have. Or they just took their time.
I
don't
like,
it's okay,
how they did that.
Push it back. We'll push it back. Let's hype this up, and then let's take everyone's money.
And unfortunately, that's the way that games as a service has to be right now, which is where, because of the people that are taking advantage of games as a service, it can't just be a blanket, yes, this is a good thing. Because when it first started, it was DLC. DLC was fine. Too expensive sometimes. Capcom took advantage of it with Asura's Wrath, selling the ending as a $20 DLC pack. But, like, it was, for the most part, it was fine, right? Later, whoop. We're about to be finishing up anyway. But then season passes became a thing. And more games came out unfinished. And then eventually it just became this mire that it is now, of half the time it's a great thing and half the time it's terrible.
And you know what? I'm okay with season passes.
I am too.
If you complete a game and you tell me, hey, we're promising you 4 DLCs and we'll sell all 4 of them cheaper to you by $10 if you just buy the season pass, and you get a small bonus.
Yeah,
I'm doing it because that's a great deal. You're promised more content.
Yes.
And by doing that, you help fund that extra content.
Yes.
But I'm not okay with the season pass on the older stuff that we've, like, older Call of Duty games where they're like, oh yeah, only way you get this map if you buy the season pass.
Yeah.
And then the worst part is they wait until the first DLC drops, and the first DLC comes with that same map.
Let me give you another one too, Pat. Kingdom Hearts 3 released this year, right?
Yeah.
Game's pretty easy. Before this year is over, I guarantee you a Critical Mode DLC comes. If it's free, then that's good games as a service. If it's not free, then that's bad.
Yep.
Because I don't have a problem if you release a game that is not finished in every aspect if you're releasing free DLC for it. I still think you shouldn't be shipping it. But I can understand if you're giving that fix for free.
I feel like there's certain things you shouldn't charge as DLC.
I think stuff like difficulty modes should never be charged. I think that should always be free DLC. Costumes are fine as DLC. Expansions are fine as DLCs. I'm even okay with map packs. I wish they weren't DLC, but I'm okay with map packs. Additional weapons, if they're not more powerful and are just cosmetic, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with RPGs having boxes that you can buy that have a bunch of starting items. I'm fine with that. I don't care because I just don't buy those. Additional characters, not in a fighting game. That's not okay. I'm super not okay, honestly, with additional characters in a fighting game that come out very similar to, very close to release. Characters locked behind pre-orders, okay with that.
No.
I will never forget that if you did not pre-order Mass Effect 3, you did not get Javik. Javik is one of the most important characters in that game.
I feel like the only thing that you should be able to sell that's DLC or pre-order or season pass related should be cosmetics. And if it's gonna be a map, like for Call of Duty, it should be only for like pre-order and DLC. It shouldn't be. I mean, not pre-order, season pass and DLC. It should not be pre-order related.
Yes, I agree. No pre-orders.
If it's not a FPS that has maps or a fighting game that has other characters to fight with
that come out later, not within a week of the game coming out.
Yeah. If you are withholding characters or story,
yes,
outside of the main story, you are rubbish. Like, that is garbage, because that means that you want to soak as much money out of us as you can instead of giving us a full-fledged product that we wanted to buy from you.
And I think stuff like expansions are fine. Stuff that is like
different.
The length of another game almost.
That's completely
that's
different.
Fine.
Yeah, because that's an extension to the story.
Well, and if you look at like Torna for Xenoblade, that's not anywhere near big as Xenoblade 2, right? But it's a whole nother continent. It's a whole new story set in the past with brand new characters, a brand new combat system, a brand new soundtrack, a brand new crafting system.
That stuff is
for
okay.
$30.
That stuff is great, honestly. But what I'm saying is, like, let's put this in a different perspective. Okay, I own a food stand.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And you come to my food stand and you see something on the menu you want and you order it, right? If you order it before we open, then I won't take 2 bites out of your sandwich. If you order it and pay me a little bit extra, not only will I give you, a couple extra things on there, I'll also not take 2 bites out of your sandwich. But if you pay the regular price and expect a full product, sorry, I'm gonna take 2 bites out of your sandwich. You think I'm garbage, right? Like, I'm a garbage person.
Yeah,
that's a terrible human being.
never eat there.
Yeah, exactly. And we do that with games. It sucks.
It's actually a really good example, Pat.
It freaking sucks, dude. I don't want to go to Walmart or HEB or whatever you have, Kroger, whatever you have at your local grocery store. I don't want to go. Yeah, I don't want to go and buy an apple. And as I'm paying for the apple, the cashier takes a bite out of it and goes, "Here you go." I don't want that. So why would I want to buy a game?
I would be so mad.
I don't want to buy a game where they're like, "Hey, you know this character that we've been working on, that we spent all this time putting into this game? Yeah. Not only are you not going to get to see them in the game, you don't get to see the cutscenes. You don't get to hear the music that comes with them. Yeah. You don't get to see that part of the story, all because you didn't want to spend a little bit extra money."
Yeah.
And no one this probably never get big enough for them to see it. But if you're a game developer and you do that, I'm sorry, but you're a terrible human being.
Yes, agree.
Like, that hits a hard spot for me. Like, there's no in between. There's no gray line. If you are going to try to withhold content of a completely finished game because you want to squeeze a little bit more out of my wallet, you're a terrible person.
I'm going to reference that in my Jump Force. Actually, Jump Force is probably not the best one for it. The next game that comes out that is very obviously not finished. Like, Jump Force is finished, it's just bad. But, like, the next game that comes out that's very obvious, I'm going to use that. Because that is a perfect metaphor.
I'm glad you think so, because that's how it feels.
That's how it is, Pat.
Yeah, that's literally how it is. Like, I shouldn't be paying $60 to go sit at a fancy restaurant, order a steak. Get it the way you want it, right? It's gonna be nice and juicy, just the right perfect temperature and all, and perfectly cooked the way you want it throughout. Comes with vegetables and a nice drink, and then they set it down, and right as they sit on the plate, they're like, "So did you pay for the premium steak or the regular steak?" And when you say regular steak, they pull out the knife and the fork and they take 2 bites out of it, and then go, "Here you go. Could have got the rest of the steak if you bought the premium steak."
You forgot about the new game thing that's happened with so many new games of when they bring the steak to the table, first there's a lid on it, and they slowly take the lid off.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And then when you go to take your first bite, they put the lid back down. Slowly take the lid off because you gotta have those loading screens.
Yeah, exactly. You paid to smell for it. You paid to smell it.
Yeah.
You didn't pay to eat it.
Yeah.
You gotta pay a little bit extra, and you also have to wait. So I know you really want this warm food, but you gotta wait till it gets cold, and then you get to eat it.
Yeah.
After I've taken 2 bites out of it and spit in your freaking broccoli. I'm going home. I'm done.
Yeah, we should. You are home.
I'm gonna walk in my living room.
All right.
I'm so mad.
I think we have covered games as a live service pretty well. I think that is the perfect example of them.
Don't eat bites out of my sandwich.
We'll be back tomorrow, not at our regular time, and maybe not at all, depending. I have work in the morning now, and I will be taking care of that. But when I get home, the plan is to stream unless I need to go pick my brother up from school, because he has done some stuff and cannot ride the bus. If that happens, then I will stream after that, which will make the stream even later. But we're at least going to stream for a little bit. Going to stream some Time Spinners tomorrow. Try and play some more of that great game from last year that we missed. Thursday we'll be back with Red Dead Redemption 2, trying to finish that. Friday we'll be back with Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition, trying to get some more work on that. And then Saturday I might stream or I might be out of town. I know it's been weird lately with my Saturdays, but I've been working a lot, and there's been stuff going on with the family. But we're going to at least play Red Dead Redemption 2 for a little while and some Tales of Vesperia. I think that's all I had. Pat, do you have anything?
Nope. Thanks for, like Andrew said and like Trey said, thanks for, being loyal to us if you have been. And if you're just now checking us out, don't forget to like and subscribe. We really appreciate all the support.
We're at 328 subs.
We are steadily climbing.
We gotta do that 300. We gotta do that 200 sub special. We promise.
Yeah.
We need to just do a big sub special. Also, if you've been wondering why you couldn't watch the first part of Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, it got blocked on YouTube because of the theme music. YouTube messaged me this morning. It got blocked months ago. But YouTube messaged me this morning informing me that they had manually reviewed it and they had realized that it should not have been blocked, and so they have removed the block. So now people can watch the first episode of the Let's Go stream. So hey, you know what? I've clicked that manually review button so many times. Nothing's ever come of it. The first time, it worked. I'm kind of surprised.
I'm also surprised because it's YouTube.
Yeah. So, hey, maybe we got over 300 subs and they started paying attention. Who knows? That's terrible.
Yeah.
That's terrible. That shouldn't be that way. Regardless, hey,
but we made it.
Maybe we can get some more unblocked without me having to just manually pull it down and then re-upload it. Because we lose all the comments, like the chat, when I do that.
Yeah.
Regardless, we're gonna end it here. I have been Trey.
I've been Pattrick.
We have been the Full Spectrum, and remember to always enjoy the full spectrum that life, I don't know what this hand motion is, has to offer. Later, everybody.
So no chino side of me.
JoJo!